Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I will explain the nature of language and linguistics. Language is God's special gift to mankind. Without language, human civilizations, as we know it, would have remained an impossibility. Language is ubiquitous. It is present everywhere in our thoughts and dreams. Prayers and medicines, relations and communications, besides being a means of communications and storehouse of knowledge. It is an instrument of thinking as well as source of delight. Definition of language. Science linguistics is the study of language. It is imperative for linguistics to know what language is. Language is a very complex human phenomenon. All attempts to define it have proved inadequate. In a nutshell, language is an organized noise used in actual social situations. That is why it has also been defined as contextualized systematic sound. In order to understand a term like life, one has to talk of the properties of characteristics of living beings. Similarly, the term language can be understood better in terms of its properties of characteristics. Some linguistics, however, have been trying to define language in their own ways, even though all these definitions have been far from satisfactory. Here are some of these definitions. 1. Language is a symbol system based on pure or arbitrary conventions. 2. Language is a purely human and non-instinctive method of communicating ideas, emotions, and desires by means of a system of verbal product symbols. 3. Language is the institutions whereby humans communicate and interact with each other by means of habitually used or auditory, arbitrary symbols. 4. A language is a set or finite or infinite of sentences, each finite in length and constructed out of a finite set of elements. 5. A language is a system of arbitrary vocal symbols used for human communication. 6. A language is a system of arbitrary vocal symbols by means of which a social group cooperates. 7. Language is undoubtedly a kind of means of communication among human beings. It consists primarily of vocal sounds. It is arbitrary, systematic, symbol, and arbitrary. Some more definitions. Language is a system of conventional spoken or written symbols by means of which human beings, as members of a social group and participants in its culture, communicated. Language are the principal system of communication used by particular groups of human beings within the particular society or linguistic community of which they are members. Characteristic of language. Language is a means of communication. Language is a very important means of communication between humans. I can communicate his or her ideas, emotions, beliefs, or feelings to be as they share a common code that makes up the language. No doubt, there are many other means of communications used by humans. Language is also so important a form of communication between humans that is difficult to think of society without language. It gives shape to people's talk and guides and controls their entire activity. It's a carrier of civilization and culture. As a human, thoughts and philosophy are conveyed from one generation to the other through the medium of language. Language is ubiquitous in the sense that it is present everywhere in all activities. It is important as the air we breathe and is the most valuable possessions of man. Animals too have their system of communication, but their communication is limited to a very small number of messages. Example gratia, hunger, fear, and anger. In the case of humans, the situation is entirely different. Human beings can send an infinite number of messages to their fellow beings. It is through language that they store knowledge, transfer it to text generation, and yoke the present past the future together. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.